Good morning, Anne.
Good morning, James.
And good morning, everybody. As always, hopefully you are all having a wonderful weekend or a wonderful week whenever it is that you are listening. Sunday morning, and here we are again, Anne.
Again.
Another episode of our Vibe Sunday podcast.
60.
Wow. They are flying by. They really are flying by.
Scary.
It is. Are you happy to begin?
I am, yes.
Brilliant. Where would you like to start this morning?
I'd like to start because I've been speaking to a client of mine this last week.
Okay.
About crime with children.
About crime. Okay.
Yeah, talking about it from years ago, not when her children were young, 13-year-olds, who are now probably 40. So it's going back in time.
Yes, I understand.
Not crime at the moment.
Crime in the past, yes.
It does relate to it.
Okay.
But as a story, no judgment, no anything else. It's a story I'm telling, a true story, but I'm hoping it will show the difference in times.
Right.
So when I was 7 and my brother was 5,
okay,
my dad hadn't come back from the forces, so I know it was in my 7th year, so I know when it was.
Right.
But during the war, women had to go out to work. Yes. Because there were no men.
Okay.
So we were left a lot to our own devices as children. Grandparents would look after us.
Yes.
No, that's not true. They would watch over us. Okay. They didn't look after us in those days. They watched over us.
You had more freedom.
We had freedom.
Freedom.
Yes. So we had no money, as I've said before, so we used to play out a lot. Okay. And there used to be a game called Buttons.
Buttons, right, okay.
And Buttons was that everybody had a button box, because remember, everything was make and mend.
Yes.
Because nobody had clothes.
Yeah, obviously. Well, maybe it isn't obvious, but yes.
And you used to have to repair things.
Okay.
So everybody had a button box, so that if they needed buttons on anything, there was a button there.
Yes.
So Buttons was having buttons outside like tiddlywinks.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as a board.
Right, okay.
So we used to flip the tiddlywinks to see who got closest to the wall.
Right, okay.
On the floor, so that's what we used to do. So my brother, 5, I'm 7, he's 5, playing tiddlywinks outside, lost all his buttons. Okay. So he decided, remember my mother isn't there, nobody's there, so he goes in and gets the button box and loses all the buttons.
Right.
So then he still thinks, I've lost all the buttons, she's going to go mad, in his mind, I'll have to win them back. So he went in and got a knife and cut the buttons off his coat.
Right.
But just sliced through the material, so he had all these holes where the buttons were.
Right, okay.
And remember, we've got no clothes.
Yeah.
So my mother comes home, looks at his coat and says, "What's happened?" And obviously, we never did tell our lies, we couldn't. And he said, "I cut them off." So what with? With the knife. Very sharp knife.
Okay.
Why? Well, I lost all my buttons. He told her the tale, so she just said, "Okay, put the coat on. Put your coat on, and you put your coat on." And we lived in Bradford, Manchester, near Greymare Lane, which was a very famous market. And not far from Greymare Lane was the Mill Street police station.
Right.
So she started walking. She said, "You're going to see the police. You're going to see the bobby. Call them bobbies." So we walk to Mill Street police station with Jack crying.
Right.
Me crying because she was taking Jack to the police station. And every time one of his friends came past, he'd stand up and stop crying and walk as if nothing was happening.
Typical boy.
So just imagine this as a film.
Yes.
And then we start walking again and he start crying again, "Don't take me, don't take me." Anyway, we got to the police station, we walked in, the bobby's behind the desk.
Okay.
So, and it's all very official, and she said to the bobby, he said, "Can I do anything for you?" So she said, "Yes. I think my son's committed a crime and I think he needs charging with it."
Right.
So he said, "What crime has he committed?" So she said, he's a thief. He's stolen my buttons and used the buttons to gamble. Okay. And he's underage to gamble. My mother was very bright.
Yes.
He's underage to gamble. So that's another charge. And she said the other charge is he's been in possession of a knife.
Okay.
So the bobby says, "Oh, that is a serious one. What's he done with it?" So she said, he's cut the buttons off his coat and damaged the garment, which isn't his. I paid for it. She said, well, that's a lot of crimes. That's a lot of crimes. So she said, yes. She said, well, what do you think? So she said, I think you should charge him. So the Bobby says, okay, I charge you on all these counts to Jack.
Right.
I charge you on all these counts. And what do you think the sentence should be to my mother? And my mother said, well, he should really go to prison, because she knew the cells were downstairs.
Right.
He really should go in the cells.
Okay.
So the Bobby said, I agree. So he took Jack down and put him in the cells. You can't imagine this these days, can you?
No.
It would be cruelty these days.
Apparently, yeah.
So he took him down and put him in the cell. He came back upstairs, and I'm crying, I'm worrying about Jack. And he walked up the stairs and he said to his mother, do you want a cup of tea?
Yeah.
They both sat down and had a cup of tea.
Yes.
And then he said, do you think that's enough now? And she said, yes, that's plenty for him.
Yes.
You can go and get him.
Right.
And he went downstairs and he said, you've served your sentence, but don't let me ever see you in a police station again, else I will throw the book at you. Do you know, he never did anything wrong, my brother, after that.
Wow, that's interesting.
And it is interesting,
So
isn't it?
such an important life lesson.
Yes.
Wow.
Not only for him, for me as well.
Yes, because you saw it as the elder sister.
But not only that, I've always remembered it.
Yes.
Word for word, I can still remember it, that what she said and what he said.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Yes.
Because most things we forget, don't we? We forget easily. And so it was a lesson to us both. And yes, so comparing that made me compare with today. Boys with a knife are using those knives not to cut buttons off.
Yes.
They're using them against each other.
They are.
Not only to challenge, they're also using them.
Yes.
So that to me is a big worry. Is
young people are killing each other.
They are killing each other.
To speak in the most stark and obvious of terms. Yes, children are killing other children. They're stabbing other children. And at times with machetes, really long, sharp types of knives, sword-like. They're chopping each other. And I know that sounds extreme. It is extreme. It really, really is extreme. And children are carrying knives in a lot of schools across the country. So there are children walking around schools, not just schools in inner cities, all types of schools, grammar schools, private schools, public schools, inner city schools, with knives in their bag, under the guise that we have to protect ourselves. So there might be rival factions or rival gangs or friends who have fallen out that feel they have to carry a knife to protect themselves. And it doesn't take much thought to play out, does it?
No.
That if people keep carrying knives, and if young people are, as young people do, falling out and challenging each other and testing each other, that at some point these knives, machetes, which, if any of you want to have a look at them, some of them, not all, but some of them really are, they're like swords.
Yes.
Like long swords being used. Now, obviously, that can't be carried in a bag, but they are being used. Knives of all kinds are being used out on the streets and in schools. And it really is concerning. It really is concerning.
Yes. So this again got me thinking, is that the difference between then and today.
Yes.
Now, I look at today and I don't think... My brother was taught at a very, very young age, at 5, and myself at 7.
Yes.
That between right and wrong.
Right.
But I then look forward, take myself forward and think of 13.
Yes.
And I'm coming to the conclusion that the 13 to 16 age is so important.
Yes.
And yet it's the worst age possible for parent and child.
It's
sorry,
go on.
Let me just finish that.
Yeah, of course.
And then I can say this from experience, because I have one daughter, my eldest daughter, who never went through that puberty at 13.
Okay.
And my youngest daughter, who was the perfect child, the little angel that you always wanted, perfect
Right.
child,
Okay.
suddenly walked downstairs at 13 and was this horror, this absolute horror, and I mean a horror, with the
Right.
drinking and everything else. She came home drunk with a friend,
Right.
falling down the road in the afternoon, not even at night.
Okay.
And all the things that 13-year-olds shouldn't do, she did.
Right.
Then at 16,
Yes.
she suddenly walked in and was the person she was before 13.
Wow, that's interesting, isn't it?
And I find that very interesting,
It is interesting.
because that period of puberty is very similar to the period of menopause in women.
Right, okay.
We all go through traumatic changes. Boys and girls,
Okay.
men and women, we all go through those two stages.
Are you saying something like that the menopause is an adult or puberty, a puberty later on in your life? Something like that. Is that what you're saying?
For me, the menopause for men and women is their change from responsibility. Because by the time they're in the 40s, they're bringing up families, they've gone through lots and lots of traumas.
Right.
And suddenly the mother,
Yes.
the energy from her sacral area, from where her womb, she's not having any more children, so it moves up.
Okay.
And they start to be more spiritual.
Okay. And do you feel that that's something that starts at 13?
No, I think at 13, it's the opposite at 13.
Are the energies going into the sacral?
Yes, the energy is going in that way.
Because the sexual organs are developing.
For them to have children.
Yes, in both men and women as well.
In both men and women.
Yes, the bodies are changing.
The bodies are
in
changing.
both cases, the bodies are changing. But in a sense, it's a physical transformation
Yes.
in puberty. And then it's an energetic transformation later on.
Absolutely, yes.
Something like that from what
something like
you
that,
are saying.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a long time to explain all that because it's...
Well, maybe
it's a
for
long
another time. It's very interesting.
It's a subject
It's fascinating.
and I find it very, very fascinating.
So for young people, I find this
Right.
baffling. It's almost as if, as a people, as a community, we've thought, what is the most destructive thing that we can do? Right, at 11 years old, we'll take children who are often in a school of hundreds, and that's maximum. So some schools, village schools, or just some small schools, they could only be in classes of 12, 15, 20, 30 maximum.
Wonderful.
So the whole school might only have 300 students in
Yes.
or 400 students in, and that's a large primary school. I know there are primary schools that are bigger
Yes.
than that. They're getting bigger now. And then put them into a secondary school, a high school, that has over 1,000 students in it, sometimes more than that.
How scary.
With, at 11, you're walking into a building where there are 14, 15 and 16-year-old boys and girls, who some of which have developed and look like men and women.
Yes.
Certainly to that young 11-year-old who may be pre-puberty. It is the most disruptive change that we could do. We have one teacher predominantly at primary school who is consistent at least for a year, sometimes for multiple years in primary school, but at least for a year, so a solid year with one teacher. Well, let's disrupt that and give them 40 teachers split across 2-week timetables, and sometimes for certain subjects they'll have 1, 2, 3 different teachers.
Yes.
So, and then they'll have a head of year, a deputy head of year, a pastoral head, the lead for their year group. It's the most disruptive, if I get my words out, disruptive period that could possibly happen when stability is necessary for what you're talking about, when such a physical, emotional change is coming, puberty. We put the most dramatic change on children in terms of their education. The two things are completely insane. One, we can't change, or at least we can't change fundamentally, which is puberty.
Yes.
One we can change, which is the education system and how we do things in the most literal sense, in the logistics of buildings and people and numbers. It's crazy the way it's done. It's completely counterintuitive. And I see so many wonderful young boys and girls become deeply troubled by the end of year 7, which is the first year of high school. So by the time that they are 12 going on 13, they've gone from being happy to being insular, introverted, sad.
Exactly.
They're learning bad behaviours. Their language is completely turned foul. They're watching all kinds of content on their mobile phones, which is another conversation that we've had many times as to whether or not they should have those mobile phones. They're exposed to people who are experimenting with drinks, drugs, sex, violence in the school.
Yes.
It's a recipe for disaster. The other side of that isn't necessarily to cosset every child and to make sure they never mix with any other child or never mix with anybody older than themselves, and they're never exposed to the temptations and challenges and dangers of life, because if that happens, children get to 19, 20 and they're still children and they're not prepared for the real world. But surely we can strike a better balance, one that is at least attempting to implement some wisdom.
Yes.
We don't take a stable primary school and then place a child into a school of 1,000 plus, sometimes 1,500 students, pretty much all of them bigger, uglier,
yes,
and more grown up than them, with so many new teachers. I'm saying it over and over again because I think it's something that we all accept as a society, and yet if we stop and think about it, it's completely counterintuitive. It really isn't wise.
No, I never have accepted it, to be perfectly honest,
right.
Because I've never understood why children have to change schools at 11. I don't understand why a child cannot stay in that same school from 5 to 18.
There are,
in the same school,
there are independent schools
teachers,
that follow something like that model, versions of that model. But you're right, the vast majority of students, children in the United Kingdom go to primary school and then secondary school, high school.
I don't see the need for a secondary school, because a child is in a school, in one school, they're happy. And then, you've got little happy 11-year-olds coming in a big day at school and they're scared. Whereas they're in the school. I'm not saying you can't have sections within the school.
Yes.
But they should always be in the same environment until they're 18.
Well, if
going
it was up
to university, if it was up to me.
Well, I think if it was up to me,
like.
I don't think they would be in school until they were 18. I think that's too old.
I think it's far too old. Far too old. But they wouldn't be starting school at 3 either for me.
Okay, yeah, that's the other side
Say
of it.
the other side of it, I don't think a child really needs school till they're 8.
I am open to many changes, but I'm certainly certain that change to the education system is needed for the welfare and just the general happiness. That's what I mean in just simple terms, for children to be happy and healthy and grow, because it isn't happening. Children are not safe, they're not happy, and society is not thriving. It doesn't work. The model doesn't work.
And you have a happy child, don't you? You see children, you have happy children in primary schools, and they make their friends. And those friends could be for life. But suddenly at 11, they go into an environment which is hostile to them. And also, they're not put in a class with the same friend.
Yes.
Always.
Absolutely.
So they're not only missing their school, they're missing their friend as well, who may become hostile in the school that they're in because of the class that she's in or he's in.
Yes. So it's a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
It is a recipe, but is that the same in the workplace as well?
What do you mean?
Our adults, do us as adults need stability the same as that child?
I think humans in general respond well to firm and fair boundaries.
Yes.
And routines.
Yes.
Some people respond better to more set routines. Some people want more freedom. But generally speaking, the whole of creation's set to routines. So there's from
nature,
from the law of gravity all the way through to like you pointed out, nature. That there are watchable, tangible, measurable, to a degree, routines, and that we can respond with spontaneity within a field.
Yes.
But we don't have true freedom in the sense of we can't transform things outside of the boundaries as they're currently set. And if we want to change things dramatically, we have to change the boundaries.
Yes. So OCD.
I think OCD is an over response to fear. So I think in a chaotic, unpredictable, cruel world, people try and order their lives as a fear response to gaining a sense of control, because it constrains, it limits the person and it limits the space, but it brings a sense of comfort, it brings a sense of familiarity, but it isn't really an expressive familiarity. It's not creative. It's a containing energy.
So it could be an excuse not to do something to the OCD. Maybe.
Maybe.
You know, but you know, I talk a lot about OCD because I think lots of people consider themselves to have it. Like Bob the builder who comes to the house, who does some of our work for us.
Yes.
He is OCD, and we talked about this, and he was saying how much he is, because he measures everything. He's meticulous. He's a really, really good worker.
Well, you'd hope that a workman would measure.
That's why I had him, because I saw his van.
Yeah.
He was down the road
Yeah.
working for somebody else, and I looked in his van, and his van was so well organised.
Okay, well that's slightly different, right? Okay, you're saying he's a highly organised individual. He's a meticulous individual.
He's meticulous.
Yeah, he
so
is
somebody
meticulous.
else would say that that's OCD.
Yes.
But he laughs about it, and he can talk about it.
Yes.
But I'm so glad he was like that when he did work for me.
Right, okay.
So who would we have? Would we have somebody who's slapdash doing jobs for us, or somebody who is OCD? Is there a middle line with everything in life? That's what I'm thinking.
Yes. It's the short answer,
Yeah.
I feel, and it would surprise me if you all listening this morning completely disagree. I do feel there's a balance, a middle road, a middle
Yes.
way with things between the extremities of any situation. We could place any situation, any person on a metaphorical spectrum and extremes or poles at different ends, and then the counterpoint somewhere where the tension rests, the irresistible force versus the immovable object, light and dark, this dichotomy of life and energy. An example in this question and answer, that there is this place where we're looking for balance. So if we become too chaotic, too spontaneous, I nearly made up a word then, too spontaneous, we can't get anything done, because it's just chaos without any semblance of order. If we're too rigid and too ordered, we don't have any colour in our lives, metaphorically speaking, because we are too predictable, and it's too contained, it's too rigid, and it's boring, it's bland. So maybe there is a sweet spot, a little bit like Goldilocks, who goes down to eat the bear's porridge, and she tries Father Bear's, and it's too hot, whatever it is, and then he tries Mother Bear's, and it's too salty, and then she tries Baby Bear's, and it's just right. So it's finding that mixture between life being too hot, too sweet, too salty, just right. And that just right will be different for you all listening, for you and for everybody, potentially. The just right sweet spot in any given moment isn't necessarily the same. It's not the same for everybody. I think it's abstract. I don't think we should focus on it, because otherwise life becomes this pursuit of this elixir, this magical X marks the spot, that we can get into a mindset of what we do isn't good enough, because it isn't that middle ground. And I do feel that can get in the way as well.
But we're not allowing, are we? Exactly that's what I'm thinking. What you're saying is you're explaining what I actually am thinking. But what I'm noticing is that we're not allowing for the joy, the goodness, the colour to come in. We're also focused on, should we be doing this or should we be doing that? Life seems to be in boxes at this moment.
Yes.
In all aspects of life. I'm not talking about, whether you're at work, this is where you have to do your work, this is the target that you have to do.
Yes.
At school, they're in exactly the same thing.
Yes.
This is the work you set, this is your target. So everybody is working for that target. I've got to get the housework done, and I hear this with a lot of women. I've got to get my work done.
And men.
And men, yes. I've got to get my work done. But I don't hear the joy and the rainbows.
The joy anymore. And the rainbows?
Yes, because that's what we should have, shouldn't we? Right. Work should be a joy. If it's not a joy,
yes,
why are we doing it? And that's a state of mind. That's not anything that has to come from outside.
Yes, I agree. I think one of the fallacies in life is that people have to work. Yes. I don't think there is such a thing as work.
No, I agree.
There is just life. And what else are you doing anyway? I think most people feel like they'd rather just be sat doing nothing or just watching television. And that may be what people choose to do. You have to do something.
Yes.
In as much as if you're alive, you can't get out of doing nothing. Even if you sit and say, well, I'm doing nothing, you're still doing something.
Of course.
There's always something to be or not to be. That really is the question.
Yes.
And I think people have got this idea that work and life are two separate entities, and they're not. There's just life.
Yes.
That's it. There's only life, and you're alive. And people are people. And that's it.
Yes.
And you can bring as much joy, as much purpose, and as much life in colour, as you put it, into any moment, no matter where you are. Yeah. I think it's impossible for people to access, because it's something that we've spoken about across a number of podcasts. I don't think people can feel a sense of joy, which I think is a little bit new agey in terms of just a sense of...
No, it's fleeting joy.
Yes, but it can be a bit whimsical, and it doesn't seem to have real world context. So a sense of a real fulfillment, a sense of a positive state of mind and a positive experience towards oneself and the life that we live without purpose. I don't think it's a crisis of joy. I think it's a crisis of purpose.
Yes.
I think most people wake up each day without purpose. They don't know who they are, they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know why or where they're going. They might go to work, and the reasons that they have don't suffice. Well, I have to earn money to pay bills. Yes. That's not enough. And people know that it's not enough. And I agree, that's not enough.
No, it's not enough.
That's not enough to sustain you in the physical. That's not exciting. That's not going to bring you power and purpose. That's not going to give you a life experience that's rich and full. It's necessary as part of our economic setup, and there can be great joy in earning lots of money and even more joy in spending it. But as a sole purpose, i.e. singular purpose, that doesn't suffice. We need something more. We need something deeper.
It doesn't have to be that much, does it? As I've said before, I'm an avid reader.
Right.
So I can go to a library. This would be in the old days, not now. I could go to a library to get a book out, and I could go to the educational side and get a boring book out that's going to educate me. Or I can go to the other side, and at the moment, I'm reading a book about vampires.
Okay.
Which I love. I love the book about vampires. As I have said before, I've read Tuesdays with Maury. So I read all different types of books, but I read them for joy. I don't read books for education. I've been in education all my life. I read books for joy. So where do we find them? I love my books and I love the adventures in them.
Good.
It's easy to find, and you may find it in music.
I do find it in music. I do. I find it in music, in television, in film, in theatre. I'm not a particularly avid reader at all.
No.
But I understand completely what you mean, as I am sure everybody does. Yes. It's such a fine balance. It's to be able to celebrate life but not escape from it.
Yes.
And there's too many people stuck in misery and drudgery, and there's too many people, as an antidote to that, escaping life, either through drink or drugs or sex or gambling or fairies and rainbows and crystals. People aren't living real life. And if you don't live real life, you won't experience the truth, whichever that may be to each individual, but an authentic, genuine, felt experience that's real. And that does come with down days and sad moments and sometimes tears, because that is life. There is a time for everything. So I would say, if you're a gambler, start gambling with buttons. or Anne's mum.
Oh,
Well, no, not all.
my mum,
Anne's mum.
yeah.
If you do, when you take them off Anne's
If we
mum's
do.
coat or anybody's
Yeah.
coat, she'll be
Yeah.
taking you down to the police
Yeah,
station,
exactly.
and you'll be sat in the cells, and you will learn a very important life lesson. There are consequences to your actions,
Yes.
and if you do something that is not right, there will be a consequence to it. I
Yeah.
sense that was what your mother wanted to convey.
Yes.
Yes, brilliant.
Okay,
Well,
I
I think we've come towards the end there, Anne.
Yes.
Quick again.
Quick
It always
again.
goes quickly.
It does,
and
yes.
thank you so much to all of you who have tuned in and continue to